Hello everyone, and welcome back to what could be the final episode of the Vortex campaign with Clan Pestilens. So, at the end of the last episode, we took Hexotl, which was a very big achievement, and what I've done since then is skip forward a couple of turns, just moved troops into position mainly, ready for us to start the final ritual. Now, I have no idea yet where we needed to go, so let's actually click on here. Ritual of Noisome Binding, blah 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 blah. Right, here. So we need to defend Oxel, Hexotl, and Grakmal Crater. Now, Oxel I expected, because that is our capital. That's not surprising, but Hexotl, that's, unexpected. But that's okay. We'll begin the ritual.
My lord. Even working together, it will take your greatest adept some time to complete. Such is the ritual's power that the Great Vortex itself distorts under its pull.
Ooh, mystical.
For while the Vortex is weakened, the forces of chaos will slip into this world. Ready your defenses, for they will doubtless be drawn to the ritual's power.
Well, that's a lot of Skaven forces for us to deal with. Surprising though, there isn't any actual Chaos forces, just Skaven. But that's okay, we can work with Skaven. So let's just tick you. We'll read through that if you're interested. And there we go, ritual has started. So this ritual takes 20 turns. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is we'll try and defeat these Skaven armies. And then, once we've dealt with those, what I'll see about doing is skipping forward until we get to the final battle. So I might either fight the final battle today for this episode, or we'll make a special video for it, because it's going to be a long one. You have to fight all the other starting factions, so Lizardmen, Dark Elves, and High Elves. And they'll come at you in waves. Although, if I remember right, you do get access to 2 magical spells, or army abilities, I guess you can say, which you can use again and again and again. I remember using those to great effect when I was playing as Tic-Tac-Toe. So, we'll see what happens. For now, though, we've got a bunch of Skaven forces around here, and we're going to see about killing them off. Now, I've moved armies around, scattered around the place, so while I knew, for example, we were going to have to defend this area, so if you remember, we've got Mormel down here. Over in the crater, we've got Tretch Craventail with his full stack of army troops. You can see I've gone for a mixture of Sensor Bearers, Storm Vermin, we've also got some Storm Fiends with a variety of different weapons, as well as a unit of Plague Claw catapults. I figured this will make a nice defensive army for us to defend the crater if needed. At the mortuary then, we've got Asai Shani. Up then to the northern part of Lustria, we've got Deathmaster Snikch and Lord Skrolk. And then I left Babarat up here. Now, my plan for him originally was just to go after the other Lizardmen settlements in the area. But, well, as you can see, I've already done that by going after the Breast of Port Weave and Swamp Town. We've got Skeggy, the Monolith of Fallen Guards, and the Ziggurat of Dawn. We've got all the territories over here. So, I could just push forward, maybe try and take Chotek's Causeway, the Mirrorpool of Tipok. It would be handy to see what we got to deal with, although that's a giant garrison. Right. Do we have any agents left in the area? I don't think I do. But they got wounded recently, so I'm not too sure. Oh yeah, and you've just moved up to here. Right. Okay. So I think all my armies have moved. Let me just double check. Let's see. No, Mormel's happy there. Asai Shani. I'm going to move you up, I think, towards Itza, just in case. Because if those Skaven forces are going to be coming down this way, they'd be aiming towards places like Hualotl, Chocopol, and things like that. I could have moved Tretch over towards there, but I'd rather have him secure the site. I might actually get you to head over to there instead. We shall see. Deathmaster, oh no, you've already moved, right? And you've moved, all these other armies have moved already. Okay, no problem. Let's just go ahead, quickly do some points. Right, you can just start assassinating at this point, I think. Settlement upgrades. You know what? Sure. Let's get... It doesn't really matter, we'll just go for Swamp Town. We'll upgrade that as well. Now, I have managed to get the achievement now for getting all of the Temples of the Horned Rats. So the only Skaven one I need to get now is... Yeah, let's not waste the money here. I just noticed this army. And given that it used to be a Norscan settlement, it doesn't have walls. This might be a major settlement. So, you know what? I'm quite happy to let it go. In fact, let's see if we can demolish it. That might help things out a bit. And we'll get rid of that too. You know, in fact, why don't we just get rid of all of this? We really don't need it. So let's just go ahead, see how much of the place we can demolish first, and then we'll just trash it afterwards. That'd be better. So yeah, leave you. Where next? The Monolith of Fallen Gods? Sure, we'll go ahead and give you that. Let's upgrade the defenses as high as we can now for Exotor. And I think that's really about it. We're going to have some places like here, Pahuax. We'll go ahead... Oh, we can't give you defenses yet. Let's give you some basic public order. Okay. Alright, Shrine of Sotek. We'll give you some defenses. Upgrade that too. And I think that is everything. Okay, let's not give you guys motion sickness. Hit and turn. Damn, we did have 2 incursions in fact. One in the Floating Pyramid and one in Swamp Town. Well, here comes the Hekaran Rebel army. As you can see, there's not really much of a chance for us here, so I'm just going to go ahead and order resolve it. Release Bear Isle, there's no big loss to me. Well, they burnt it down. They might come back and take it, you never know. And then over here... Oh yeah, we lost the Fortress of Dawn in the previous end turn phase because of that army. But, to be honest, we didn't really need it. I think I just kept it for the sake of it. But, we got some ambushes, settlements, ways, high sentinels, floating pyramids, and my agents are back. Excellent. So, let's have a look at what's happening over here. So we got 1, 2, 3. They are using the underway to jump along here, and there's 2 armies heading this way. So, if I get you, Deathmaster, head towards Quinatax, I'm going to get Skrolk then to jump down as far as we can go down here. He can either help defend this section, or if they're going to try and jump over the mountains, we may have a chance to intercept them. And in fact, Asai Shini, could you get you to potentially do the same, do you think? Just thinking about maybe jumping down to Chocobo or something like that. I would rather have Skrolk lead the defense here at Hoaloto if we can, because he's got the stronger army. Yeah. Let's jump you down to here first of all. And then we'll see what happens with the rest of it then. Alright, Tret can stay there. Mormel can stay here. What I'm going to have to remember to do, though, before the final battle, is I'm going to swap around some of my armies for Lord Skrolk. So, for example, I wouldn't mind swapping out the Sneak Killers to get my hands on the Mortar teams for Mormel's army. We could also try and swap out 1 or 2 other things, maybe get a few more Sensor Bearers, rather than... Oh, you know what? I keep forgetting to call these guys. Herald Bearers of Plague. Let me just... Excuse me, let me just name you... Oh, damn it. I keep pushing the wrong bloody buttons. Right, let me try that one more time. I want to change you to be called Herald Bearers of Plague. There you go. Now you match with these guys. Thank you. Right, Babarat. Okay, we could march up towards Chotek's Causeway. I'm going to get you to march down and deal with these rebels because we're still trying to build these settlements up. Alright, let's go and kill these guys. Goodbye. There you go, nice and easy. Alright, just to help out, we're going to go and get some more food. We're back up now to normal food levels, so we get a little bit of growth. I wouldn't mind... Oh, hang on. Why did I have in my head that plentiful food actually gave you more casualty replenishment? Or was that just me? Oh no, it might be because I'm thinking food shortage gives you debuffs to that, so maybe it's the other way around. Never mind. Anyway, that's you now dealt. There was also an army here by the floating pyramid. let's see about just getting you down there to deal with them. It looks like we also got one army heading over to here. So what I might try and do, if we had my agents, I lost all them up here. Upskeef, you can come over here and examine the causeway. And I believe that is Plague Rock. I'm going to get you to march down here. If we can try and do some assault units to this army, just to weaken them a bit, that would be useful. And then you can just get on with what you need to do. You guys are busy there. I think that should be everybody. Yeah. Summon upgrades now. We'll upgrade Port Weaver. Why not? Or better yet... Now, it's only 2 turns. What we'll do is upgrade Swamp Town again, and then switch over to Port Weaver afterwards. Export the Contagious. Can have Fleet-footed. Yes, I know about Port Weaver, thank you. We do have 30,000, so excusing the motion sickness again, is there anything else we can do? Temporal Karma can have Defenders. Let's also go for foods. We might as well upgrade that while we're here too. 5 population surplus. Oh yeah, we are getting food from here, that's fine. Iron Frost, that is now done, so we can now get rid of that. And I think we'll upgrade these, just because why not? It is Exotal. In fact, switch that over. Okay, hit enter again. Ooh. Loyal Musk for Asai Ishini. I think we've had this one before, didn't we? Yeah, this one remains loyal, yes. Too loyal perhaps, maybe? Must be planning, scheming, only possible answer. But what to do? Well, what to do indeed. So we could take Asai Ishini's eye, giving Lords have a chance to gain loyalty. We can promise him Warpstone Snuff for extra experience. It's going to cost us 2,000 Warpstone tokens. We can slay his underling, or we can give, well, basically spree on him. I'm going to go for the promised Warpstone stuff just because we do have it this time. So, we'll skip through all of this. God, there seems to be more and more every single turn of armies spawning. But there's not much I can do about it because the ritual is our main concern right now. Let's get you now to go after Corral here. See about dealing with them. Okay, Lightning Strike. Goodbye. Alright. Let's take the food. Another help at attendance. Alright. So that other Skaven army, there's that one that was making its way up, it's disappeared into the fog of war. So, might be a good idea. I'll keep the army here for the moment. We might get an opportunity to intercept it then as it goes past. We'll have to see though. Let's get you to some defenses anyway, just in case, and we'll spend the money on that too. Now if we head down here... Here they are. So, Deathmaster Snikch didn't get the opportunity to go after them here. But if we get you to march this way, I might be able to get him to run through and see about going after some of these. And then as for you... who do we have here again? Asai Shani. I'm going to get you to teleport over, if I can, towards Jacobal. Alright, so that's you there. Now I'm going to get you to march down towards here. This way then we'll have defenders here in the settlement if needed. If we lose Hualotto, I'm really not that fussed. And we can have the Deathmaster coming in from behind. If they do end up coming too much, we've got plenty of armies down here ready to deal with them as well. So... in fact, what I might do... let's get you to make your way down here, Tretch. And you can hide up towards the crater. And of course they're going to stop right here. There they go. At the end of the day, Mormel's firepower will be much more useful, I think, than Tretch's army. As cool as it would be just to have that entire army of infantry. But having the massive firepower from all those mortar teams and ads would be much more useful. So yeah, we'll leave it for the moment. Okay, unassign skill points. Assign... I suppose I'm just gonna give you... We need one more point before we can start going to the cool ones. Right. In that case, let's just give you Scorch. Because I'm not too worried about flying units in Skaven armies, you know? Okay, Toxa. We'll give you Evasion as well, I think. No, we'll give you Death Frenzy. That'll work. Morphin Rot can now get Paranoid Defender for the Verminous Valor ability. Having that ability just to blow up enemy troops nearby is quite cool. Alright, here we'll give you some defenses, we'll give you that as well. And I've still got 11,000 to spend. Was there anything I missed in my previous run-through? Here, the pillars. Sure. You get that. We'll go ahead and give you that and this as well for the extra food. Monolith of the Fallen Gods. Was it this one that had... No, it's the Secret of Dawn. That has unique build-in. Fact, let's just demolish that. Because if I click on here, what's the build-in again? This one here. So the Beacon of Dawn, by dawn's early light, does a call to the bosom of the old ones for their protection and elimination. The bonuses aren't necessarily the best things in the world, given the fact that it only provides for local armies, but I believe the Recruit rank +1 applies across the map, and I think Skaven Corruption 1 is more local, but still, I'd rather have the landmark build-in if I can get it. So I'll go and give you that in the meantime. You're okay. Here, the Monument to the Sun. Let's give you some defenses. I see a Dread is still hanging on in there for us. But yeah, another turn, I think. Let's actually do this quickly. We're still very low reliability, but we are able to slowly get different trades and that. Like, we've managed to get them with Kenry. Can we get one with you guys? Yes. How about if you give me some extra money for this? No. Okay, in that case... I suppose, according to this, we're getting 593. So, we get that easily within 2 turns? Sure. So we got that. What about the Swordfish Cutthroats?
Stay in your dank holes,
No.
vermin.
There you go. At least a little bit of extra cash coming in every turn. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. Obskeith went to examine the Chotex Causeway. So, which one is this? Upside down... We'll make it this one, I think? Am I reading that right? Yeah. Damn, I didn't even get to see what we got. Picked up a bodyguard, it seems, and that's all I can tell. Ooh, we've got one army... We've got 2 armies heading over to Snikch. Hopefully they're not going to send too many more. Or they are. Okay, this might not be the best plan in the world. Oh my god, they're sending even more! Oh, Deathmaster, you might be in for a rough time. I think you're in for a very rough time. Right. Helping Abominations, play Claw Catapults. Oh god. Right. Well guys, on the plus side, I think we have walls, don't we? I'm pretty sure we should do. I'll let the cavern map load up a second, just so I can double check. Yes, we have fortifications. So, not that it really helps much when they do have a catapult, but as well as things that can knock it down. But you never know, it might come in handy, we might be able to do something here. Let's see what happens. Let's grab a couple of uses of this, just to help things out. And if the Deathmaster gets wounded, so be it. My main concern at this point is just to try and kill off as much of the enemy as possible, to make things easier for us later on. So, let's see how we go. So here we are everyone in the caverns of the Mlexigau, as the Deathmaster himself prepares to deal with an onslaught of enemies. Now the battle itself took about half an hour of me fighting against wave after wave after wave of Skaven troops. So forgive me if I don't include the entire battle in the replay, simply because to try and do that and fit in everything else that's going to be featuring in the episode is just going to be sheer madness. It'll be such a long episode. So I'm going to be cutting out and pretty much try and show off as many highlights as I can, while giving you the general gist of what happens during the battle itself. So, with that said, we start things off, as you can see, with the first wave of the enemy forces right in front of us. You can see in the distance they've got themselves a Hellpit Abomination, and just rows and rows of different troops such as Censer Bearers, Storm Vermin, and things like that. Up on my walls, I've got a mixture of the city garrison as well as the Clan Eshin army under the command of the Deathmaster. So you can see the little highlights where different characters are stationed. So behind the wall here, where I gathered they were going to be the main attack, we've got Fadarif, we've got the Warlock Engineer that's leading the garrison, we've got Shab over here, and the Deathmaster himself is actually right here in the corner. There we are. Now what I've done to start things off is put up all my gutter runners along the walls to basically shoot down on the enemy's position as much as I can. Over on this far side, where I didn't look like the enemy was going to come and attack us that much, I've mainly just put units like these slingers up here from the Skaven slaves to make the towers active. And even on this far side, I've just stuck the Skaven slaves, because these guys are going to be less than useless, right, when it comes to actually fighting. So I end up in Snikch's triads right here, as well as some of my night runners. I've got my other triads holding the gates here, Plagueclaw Catapult back here, and all the Death Runners, as well as the Globadier teams, just sort of stationed here, waiting for an opportunity for us to use their, well, Death Globes effectively. Now I've got all these guys so they're not firing as well, because I didn't want to try and have that much in the way of friendly fire. So, if I speed things up a little bit, you can see I've already opened up with my Gutter Runners using their poison shot to do some damage to these clan rats. Everybody else is just getting closer and closer. Back here, I do spot the unit of Plagueclaw Catapults. I think I tried summoning in the use of the Menace Below to go after them, and it was somewhat effective. But as you can imagine, with this entire new wave of enemies coming in behind us, it was not going to be the best tactic in the world to try. Now speaking of the Menace Blow, you can see the enemy actually summoned a unit back here in the courtyard. But just in case something like this happened, I have my 3 units of clan rats sort of just stationed here to go after anyone that actually spawned. Between the 3 of them, they should be able to deal with any real issues that we had. And then, while that's happening, we come back to the walls. Now this unit has taken some damage already due to the Plagueclaw Catapults in the distance, as well as the Death Globe Bombardiers the enemy had right here. So I'm letting them try to do as much damage as they can. We are still doing different bits and pieces where we can. For example, right here I unleashed the, the Hidden Whirlwind from Fadarif, which as you can see did a ton of damage to the Storm Vermin and the Plague Monks. Over in the distance then, you can see the Menace Blow I summoned in order to go after those catapults. I figured if we can kill those off quickly as we can, then that will save us having to face the artillery. We will get them to retreat, if I remember right, but we are a bit of a time limit as we just got all of these Skaven rushing right towards that unit of clan rats. Their sacrifice will be, well, will not be in vain to say the least. Luckily for me here now, if I speed things up yet again, we do have some things like a Gracier here on a Screaming Bell, as well as the Hellpit Abomination. But for whatever reason, they're not actually attacking my gate, which is fine by me. My main concern though is trying to deal with these Globadiers and the Bombardiers back here, because they are doing some damage to my units up on the walls. Managed to send off a Scorch Spell just to do some damage against the Censer Bearers. And finally, they're bringing in the Hellpit Abomination. Now I didn't notice this for at least another few seconds, so I thought, right, I better deal with it when I spotted it. So, in fact, what was I doing here? Oh, that was an enemy unit of clan rats. Right, okay. I thought it was something else, obviously not. Now of course, that Hellpit Abomination is going to have some problems going up against my triads, which I sent out in order to go after them. Never mind all that big bombing noise just then. Now they are going to find it a little difficult because at the end of the day they are lightly armoured. They're not, you know, the best troops to be sending up against a Hellpit Abomination, which is trying its best to push through the walls. But it's going to do a good job. The only issue I've got is that they are getting attacked by the Globadier teams outside the gates, but we've got enough people to try and hold the line here. If we head back to the main line itself, I brought up some of my characters. You can see, well, I was going to say characters, that's not my characters. Unfortunately, some of them get spotted and caught up by the enemy's ladders climbing up, but I send in my Death Runners otherwise to hold the line. You can see they've just got the main advantage when they're going up against the enemy Plague Monks trying to make their way up. So we're quite happy to just let things continue there. Trying to spot, where did I put Fadareef? Because I ended up moving him right to the corner here to try and get us very close to the enemy. We can then use our warp fireballs as well as any shuriken we wanted to use, as well as try and do the occasional blasts. Now here, you can see another unit clan rats coming in. They did manage to do some damage back here actually. I saw eventually with all these enemies clumped up by, this will be a good opportunity for me to use the menace blow. So if I actually speed things up a little bit. Okay, maybe not. Wow, I didn't realize we had so much going on the battlefield right now. Even speeding up the game is not going to do much. Huh. But anyway, if I just come back here quickly to show off what's going on. The Hope-Hit Abomination is still going strong. It's managed to do a fair bit of damage. But I've managed to do enough that we will see it dead before it does much damage to the gates. The main issue I had to try and deal with actually was this Grazier. Because of the Screaming Bell, and no doubt its high rank, he was able to actually stay alive for quite a while, and obviously I don't want him to do that. So, yeah, he managed to survive a little bit. The other guys are still just waiting on. Luckily they're not trying to climb the walls, because that would have made things much more difficult. But, yeah, one of those things. Now over here is where I had my use of the Menace Blow. Now, you guys have seen this campaign by now. You know exactly what I got planned when I summon a unit of clan rats right in the middle of an enemy horde. All I need to wait is for them to lose half their health. They're getting there quite quickly. You can just about make them out covered by the enemy storm vermin. A Scorch, though, really does help out just to send it down to that last bit. And just like that, bam. A cloud of blood, I should say, at 4 men. And these storm vermin have taken an absolute ton of damage. Now, while the first wave still continues, that army's just going to stay there and wait. They will start sending troops in one by one to try and climb up this section of the wall. But I'm mainly just trying to see about how to deal with these guys. We've still got the storm vermin hanging on in there. We've now dealt with the Helped Abomination, but they've sent in some Skaven slaves to try and do some more damage. Again, the Triads will be able to deal with them easily enough, but we've just got more and more forces to deal with outside. Although I am, of course, using my own Globadiers to do some damage to them. But otherwise, this is basically what I'm going to be dealing with for quite some time. We're going to have enemies try and climb up the walls. I'm going to be using whatever characters that I've got here to try and hold them. And when I can, I'll be swapping out my units to allow them a chance to recover from their vigor. So they'll be able to go back off, nice and fresh rather than being tired. But the Deathmaster is now fighting away up here. And you can see Snikch is going to be doing extremely well against these characters. He's not, I think, the best choice to be trying to fight hordes of enemies. He's much better at fighting enemy commanders, heroes, single model units. But I think he's going to do okay nonetheless. He's already got 17 deaths against these storm vermin, and it's not going to be too long until they start retreating anyway. Or I should say storm vermin. Oh yeah, they are storm vermin. It's these guys who are my gutter runners. But he's going to be busy holding the line. You can see more enemies coming in over in the distance. It's just going to be one hell of a fight, and we're only 5 minutes in. Now, to show exactly what we've got, so far the enemy has put onto the battlefield 5,500 troops, and we've managed to kill, well, nearly 2,000 of them. In return, we have taken a few casualties, about 650 at this point-ish. But still, we're holding the line, which is the most important thing. So let's skip forward a little bit, and I'll show you some more highlights eventually. So here we are about halfway through the battle, and we've just had our gates knocked down by a unit of Death Runners. Now, they managed to hold for quite some time. You can see the body here of the Helped Abomination that was fighting there earlier in the battle. But as the Death Runners make their way in, they're encountered by Ixcha's triads, as well as the other units that got nearby. Now luckily for me, despite having an open gateway into my city, the enemy have decided not to really take advantage of that. You can see a couple of units still hanging around, but most of them have made their way up to the walls to try and attack me. A couple of units like the Plague Monks are trying to circumvent it, but generally they're trying to climb up the ladders. Now already you can see that my troops have taken a ton of damage. I've been trying to recycle them like I said, but it's just the problem where I haven't got that many troops I can just cycle back and forth and get some fresh ones up all the time. So like the Deathmaster himself is quite tired, although he's managed to earn himself 159 kills in the battle. The Warlock Engineers managed to pick up 1, but so far definitely I reckon one of the better ones is Fadareef. He's been able to use the hidden what's it called? The Whirlwind ability? Excuse me, I'm trying to figure out what it is. Alright. Is it Concealment Bombs? Warp Fireballs were quite cool. I've tried to use those a couple of times. Brittle Bones I haven't really used all that much. Black Whirlwind. That's the one. Now he's poached right here just so he can take advantage of the fireballs and that when I can use it. But generally, we're doing okay. Like I said, I've had to swap out some of my units, so I've put the 2 Triad units. I've taken a ton of casualties over here, just to defend that gate, and Ixcha's claws have gone over there. I got my Night Runners now running over just to try and help secure the gate against any potential attacks. We have got this slight situation that enemies are retreating into the city, and the thing is, when you're Skaven, is that it's very common that enemies will run away and then come back again later. So I believe I sent the Night Runners then just to try and chase down a couple of them so we didn't have to worry about dealing with them later. In particular here, you can see an example of this. Some Plague Monks have taken some damage, they retreated through my settlement, and they've now since come back and start going after my Plague Claw catapults. Now, luckily for me, I guess, I think these guys actually ran out of ammunition, so there wasn't really much I can do with the catapults now anyway. And given that it was a siege defense battle, I can't send them off the map. So all they can do is just stand there and try to help out where needed. But apart from that, we're still holding the walls. If I hover over here, you can see now the enemy have deployed over 8,500 troops even. And while we have taken a few losses, we still are holding strong. The enemy though have gone even more coming onto the map right now. You can see all the way back here. And this time, they're not just bringing in troops, they're bringing in artillery, which is going to be a bit of a problem, given that I don't want to be fighting these if I can avoid it. So, they're getting a bit closer. You can see the Warp Lightning Cannons already taking off shots. We've got Rat Ogres now to deal with too. And at this range, and with the fact my artillery has been, well, used up, the only thing I can really do at this point is try and either summon in units using the Menace below, or send out some units like my Dwarf Flayers over here. So you can see I still got the Doom Flayers here and here. I've been going to try and send them out as and when I can, but generally they've just been sitting around waiting for the right opportunity. I didn't want to, with all these enemy forces around, send them out where they can easily get caught and swamped, whereas if they stay where they are, they can be a good defensible unit in case the enemy make their way down to the ground. Plus, we can always send them out if needed. But with the enemy now firing down with Plague Claw shots, as you can see, it's something we're going to have to deal with sooner rather than later. Wow. I never realized exactly how many bodies are right outside my gates, but look at it. Just almost a carpet of dead enemy bodies. And still more coming in to add to the pile. Now, I've still got about 10 minutes of the battle left, if I remember right, but just to show off what I was dealing with at the battle itself, we've now, I think, got all the enemy's units on the battlefield. Over 9,000 we've had to fight in this battle. And despite that, we've managed to hold our ground quite well. The troop count now sort of on the map is about 50 equal, I should say, not 50-50. It's about equal on both sides, but we do have the advantage still off the walls. If I just show off what's happening here, again, a pile of bodies, as my triads have been holding the gates against the enemy attacks. Now, they've had to deal with everything from the Helping Abomination right at the beginning, to now sensor bearers. We've got some storm vermin charging in as well. But these guys have managed to hold valiantly, although they have not been fighting alone. If you see back here, I've got some gutter runners that have been taking slingshots into them as needed. Some night runners have been happy to throw shuriken in when they need to. So we are still holding on. Just a shame that we took as many casualties as we did. Now over here, as you jumped over, you saw that I actually summoned in some menace below to try and deal with the artillery pieces because we were getting bombarded by them. I have taken steps to try and reduce the casualties we had. So if I go back onto the walls here, you'll see, for example, that a lot of my forces have now come off the walls. If they're going to be stationed anywhere, they're down here. So the walls act as a natural buffer. And I believe as well that when an enemy puts ladders onto a section of the wall, it then becomes indestructible. So you will be able to have to worry about your walls being destroyed because the ladders are in position. So I wonder if that might have been why enemies started firing on other places instead of trying to smash the walls down instead. But we are still trying to hang on in there. What I ended up doing in order to free up some more men, or rats, in order to use them in a battle, is I started using my slaves to get onto the walls as well. This way then we can hold the towers, and I'm not concerned if the Skaven slaves end up getting shot at by the enemy artillery. So we're still using ones like the Skaven slaves now over this side. Still got the broken units of triads, although I will be sending them in to try and help reinforce. But ultimately, it's still quite tight at this point. It could have swung any way. Now, I do have some units still pretty much at full strength ready to go. The Deathmaster has managed to do quite well, 170 kills. I've got him resting down here so he isn't being attacked. But if the enemy try to come off the walls, they're going to have to deal with my troops. And don't forget, these guys are winded. They are going to be tired because of just trying to climb up. But it still continues, even now. Then the enemy still got a bunch of artillery, and realizing that they had a lot of rat ogres as well, made me quite reluctant to try and send in any more clan rats using the menace below. It would be handy for us to do so just to try and get rid of some of the artillery teams, but I wasn't willing to risk using it up for no good reason. So, in the meantime, the battle continues. You can just look over here though, just to see more bodies leading up to the gate. By this time, rat ogres are trying to get involved. But don't forget, we have got triads who are anti-large, and you can actually see here, we've got a unit of my Doomflayers. Now I believe what I was trying to do is send these guys away from the battle, but for whatever reason they got stuck. So luckily the Dwarfing Menace, I believe, was able to escape, but the other guys got caught up, and I think I nearly lost them. I don't think they actually got destroyed, but I ended up using them for quite a part of the battle. But let's see what happens next. So here we are, guys, in the last few minutes of the fight. Now things have swung a little bit more against me in my opinion, although if I go onto the bar at the top here, you can see we outnumber the enemy nearly 2-1, which was quite surprising looking back, as I thought we were nearly dead. You can see a lot of my health bars are just really low at this point. Like units of this here, this gutter runner slingers, right? Still got 77 out of 120, but they got less than 1,000 health. These guys would be able to get destroyed quite easily. But we've still been able to hold the walls. You can see we've got enemy commanders now made their way in. We've got, whoa, a body slam there by one warlord on a bone crusher. And we've also got another one running away right now. I've tried to use Shab, my assassin, to try and keep an eye on these guys and do damage as we can. Luckily, she's pretty good at doing it, but it's still just a case where we deal with one of them, then one of them comes back, and then one of them comes back after we deal with that one. But now I've brought in my Dwarfing Menace, my Doomflayers. I figured it'll be a good opportunity for me just to go after them and do some extra damage. But if I go along the rest of the walls over here, you can see the main wall on the left is just about managed to hang on. We've got, luckily, the Deathmaster now capable of going after enemy commanders, but my units over here have taken a right battering. I think the only unit which is still relatively strong, apart from the Warlock Engineer, is this unit of Plague Monks. And these guys, as you can see, are just winded. They've fought a lot. They've managed to kill over 100 enemy units. It's just, yeah, it's getting quite difficult, but look at the pile of bodies up here. Wow. They may have taken the walls for the moment, but we have made them bleed for every bit that they have taken. Wow. Now, at this point, you can see that there's not much really left of the enemy. It's just a case of trying to keep fighting long enough for them to shatter. So, I brought out my Doom Flayers. Originally, I was going to get them to chase after something. But then I figured what I'll do is get these guys to try and, first of all, finish off any other ones, like the Warlords. And then I want them to really go after the weapon teams up here, the artillery crew. Now bear in mind, you can see we've got some gutter runners making their way over, as well as some unit of rat ogres. They're still going to get involved. I think these guys actually end up attacking the gates, but as you can see at the gates, we've managed to hold on here despite facing numerous enemies. I think right now we're actually fighting rat ogres that have just started to waver. So yeah, it's been really, really tough here, but we've managed to hold on. Just about. But like I said, at this particular point, we did outnumber the enemy. I knew I was going to win it. All I was waiting on is waiting for that opportunity for them to shatter. But they weren't going to do it quite yet. We needed to try and kill off a few more troops. So, despite the fact that we had still a numerical advantage, it was still a bit touch and go in my opinion. Now you can see over here, while we're still holding it, we are taking a few casualties. I'm using my Globadiers and now to try and attack enemy units up on the wall. But I'm also trying to be careful. My Plague Monks are taking some damage from a Slinger unit over here. So by doing that, they're actually going to be taking a few hits. But they're going to be able to continue to fight nevertheless. I think the breaking point though, where it showed that I managed to win, was when I started sending my Doom Flayers out after the enemy artillery. You can see here the gutter runners, I managed to get some shots in against this unit, but they are armoured, so I'm not that concerned about them trying to chuck throwing knives and shuriken at me. I think I was going to chase them down at one point as well, but then I figured, no, if we can go after the artillery, we can stop them from firing at me, and that way then we can keep the troops on the walls alive a little longer. But we've still got a couple of units left to deal with, and like I said, in my personal opinion, it felt very touch and go for a little while. We're just about holding the gates. Again, over here, we've managed to do a lot of damage to the enemy's units, but they still got things like Globadiers coming in, and a lot of my forces have taken severe losses. This unit here, for example, has been reduced to 23 out of 120. The Deathmaster himself is still down here, but I believe he's actually taken a fair bit of damage. I can't see where he is though right now. That's the enemy's Gracier. Huh. Maybe I moved him to go elsewhere. It'd be kind of weird if I did, but I can't spot him anywhere. But you know what? It doesn't matter. He's still been involved in the defense, and that's what we need to worry about. So, at this particular point, if I switch over to the artillery, you can see here my Doom Flayers have just about taken their last bit of health, less to nearly 1,000 health. But luckily for me, it was this moment that the enemy army shattered completely. So I end up taking a bit of time just doing what I can to chase down enemy units. I haven't got a lot that can do that at this point, so it's really just relying on these Doom Flayers to try and go after some of the units back here. We got some that are still in the settlement, like over here. So I do have forces in certain places that can try and chase them down. But as you can tell though, victory is mine. And it has been one hell of a fight. You can just see the bodies scattered around here. We've even got the remnants of a Screaming Bell from the Gracier that we had earlier in the battle. He kept coming back and eventually he was destroyed. But look at it. Just absolute carnage. But with that, guys, let's go back to the campaign map. Christ, that was one hell of a fight. It took over half an hour. We lost a couple of units, but as you can tell from the numbers, we managed to get out of it relatively okay. I mean, we still only got... Actually, they've got a lot more than I do, to be fair. But one of those things. This will be able to chase down some of the survivors, hopefully. For now, though, let's eat the captives. After that, I'm certainly feeling hungry. I don't know about Snikch. Oh, wow. I'm surprised I kept that many Death Runners. I really am. This one got knocked down to just 4 people left. I think it might have even less than that, to be honest. Ugh. Anyway, Ronin the Blade, Ratmech. I didn't even get to pay attention to some of these characters just because I end up fighting them. I was too busy doing it. I don't even know how much of that battle I'm going to be able to keep in, because it's just half an hour of defending the walls. Well, that's a problem for future me to sort out. You know what? Sure, you can have some rocket boots this time. Breeder, strict. Bodyguards, breeders, but... Oh, Jesus Christ, so much stuff. Right. Oh yeah, and what was these guys again? The Grand Hierophant's exiles have now arrived near the northern part of Lustria. Luckily though, we still got Hexotwa under my control. Now, Secret of Dawn, let's first of all start with some defences. And I'm going to build the Beacon of Dawn, just because, why not? We also got our first presence of Garrett and his forces here. So you have Warfly Throwers, lots and lots of Gutter Runners. To be honest, I think my army should be okay in that fight. Should, being the optimal word. What else have we got to deal with? Asai Shani, are you able, do you think, to try and do some ambushes? Let's try. Goodbye. Okay, that's 1. What do we want? Let's take the replenishment. Okay, skip through all of this. Let's go for number 2. Ambush this time. Failed to spot my ambush. I'm going to take the risk. There we go. Perfect victory, but we still wiped out a lot of them. And then we'll pull you back. Do I keep pushing it? Do you think? I mean, this time we'll have the garrison from Harlot all come in. And thanks to us building it up, we've got quite a few people here. What about you, Deathmaster? Thanks to that turn's replenishment, he's really skyrocketed back. You know what? I think the Deathmaster would want to finish these guys off himself as much as possible. So I'm going to get you to go into Hualotl first of all, Asai. Let's get the Deathmaster then to come chasing these guys down. Assuming he can reach it. Come on. Okay, that's 1. Alright. Make sure to eat them as we go. Alright, double barrel. Not really useful. Okay, second army. Goodbye. Okay, again, get the replenishments. This is going to be how it's like when you play as Tarwoks in the next DLC. We're just going to be slaughtering enemies one after the other and just fighting so many battles. Shroud of Dripping Death. Cool. Okay. I think we have now wiped out most of the enemy invasion at this point. All we've got left to deal with now is that last one up at Bubberwat's territory. So if we march up to here, and let's see what happens if we tell them to attack. Failed to spot the ambush. You know what? Let's just, again, fight our way through this. So we'll get just enough for that big jump. Level 5. Goodbye. There we go. That was easy. Unknown Skaven clan destroyed. Now, I don't know whether or not we're going to have to face any other attacks, such as from an intervention army or something like that, but I'm quite happy to continue a bit more at this point. We'll skip forward a couple more turns, I think, just to see what happens. Oh, this is going to be a long episode, isn't it? I'll get you Gutter Eyes, stand or die, and I'm going to continue giving you Blade Master, just because I think you kind of need it. Shab can now gain immortality. I think he deserves it after that fight. Wow. Fadarif. I think at this point, I'm actually going to give you some of your own combat abilities. So I'm going to go for harder hits, just to improve that. Asai, Ishani. Let's give you evasion, crack skull. Like that. Okay, Toxa, you can have evasion and finish off with the warp lightning, actually. Okay, Seabrick. You can get that and that. God, these guys have got so much experience now because of everything they fought. Okay, we're gonna give you then Fever and Deadly Onslaught. Okay, Obskeef, we're just gonna give you Scorch. And Lord Skrolk hasn't even had a chance to fight anyone because these guys managed to finish them off. Right, what I'm going to do then is get you into Itza. Plagwalk is up here, so he's no longer needed. I might get you just to head back up to this way temporarily. Obskeef, you can go after the Mirror Pool of Topok just to try and steal some technology. Now, something I've been noticing during the end turn phases, especially around Sildred Torth here, is there's still a number of Lizardmen forces, like Nakai the Wanderer. I saw Kwok Gar at one point. They're still hanging on in the area, despite the fact that we've kicked their butts so heavily. But I suppose I shouldn't be too surprised, they are Lizardmen after all. Right, 38,000. Let's quickly upgrade some stuff. Sure, you can have that. And that. Right, anything else? Tower of the Sun. Not really much of use. I'm just going to go and give you... You can give me some extra food. Get that. Get that. Get that. Don't need that. Okay, you can have that and this. Okay, Swamp Town, let's level up to level 3 now. You can get your defenses built. You can be upgraded. Quite some more. Immortality, well done you. Okay, finally end turn. Okay then. What I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to play through the rest of the 16 turns. I don't know if anything's going to pop up. If it does, I'll tune back in. But to be honest, it's just going to be 16 turns of waiting and building up my force, ready for the final battle. So, we don't really need to see it. Just skip all of that. Yeah, I don't think we really need to. So yeah guys, I'll catch you in a bit.